Yeah, welcome. So we are waiting for other people. So there may be people who trickle in throughout this call. Right now it's just us facilitators and Abigail. So you're free to unmute or show yourself if you feel called to. And if not, that's okay too. We're just simply here to offer some of our guidance, some of our support in different ways. And we're just so grateful you're here. And this call is being recorded just so you guys know. My name is Arya, also known as Shelby. Here with Bianca and Andrea, where we're going to share some beautiful regulation practices and embodiment practices, and to just talk on what it means to like what embodiment is on a nervous system level, and how to find regulation through different practices. And so, with that being said, we're gonna begin with a little like practice with Andrea. You feeling ready, Andrea? Yes. I'll go ahead and mute myself, and then we'll begin with a practice just to start grounding in and settling in.
Bueno, hello, and welcome to today's practice. How are you feeling? I would love to hear like one word, one one texture, one something. All good. If you can, Abigail, if you can just like text on the chat one word of how you're feeling, what's alive. Arya as well. Tired, tender, tuned in. Tender, expansive, tired. I'm feeling expanded, open, soft. So we have a lot of different feelings, emotions, and experiences here in the room right now. So we're gonna work with what's alive, and we're gonna meet ourselves here. We're gonna start with the little vagus nerve toning practice, which is a miracle for calming down your nervous system and bringing you to your center in no time, in a very short amount of time. And it works wonders. It's also a little funny, so we're going to be doing a little bit of a weird thing. So, welcome your weirdness and have fun. So, we're going to start by sitting down with a straight spine. We're gonna roll the shoulders back. Take a deep inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. I'm gonna take a few more of those. Allow your belly to fully expand. And exhale through your mouth. On the next round, we're gonna bring the shoulders up. Create some contraction. Hold the breath in and exhale with an open mouth and with a little bit of sound. On the next round, inhale and hold the breath in. Bring your shoulders up and exhale with an open mouth and with a little bit more of sound. Just taking a moment to tune into our throats and to the sound that's coming through. If it feels warm, if it feels cold, contracted, or expanded, open. What is the sensation in our throat today? What is the sensation in our facial muscles, in our jaw, in our tongue, in our mouth? Do I feel like I have some contractions, some words unspoken, or do I feel like there's been fluidity throughout my day? What is the energy of my expression right now? And from this place, we're gonna use our tongue to, like, we're cleaning the insides of our mouth in circles. So we're gonna go clockwise for the first part, and we're gonna circle our body in the same direction. So we're stretching and expanding and activating our mouth, the insides of our cheeks. And now we switch direction to the other side. And we come back to a straight spine. Inhale and exhale. Bring your tongue out. Inhale deeply. And exhale with an A. Inhale deeply. Exhale with an E. With an I. And an O. And with a U. With the tongue out. So it's a little different, a little complicated. Now we're gonna work a little bit with our vocal cords. We're gonna warm them up just a little bit, and at the same time we're toning our vagus nerve. So it's a little bit funny. We're gonna roll the lips like this, and so we want to control the air using our abdominal muscles. So that we have a continuous airflow that allows our lips to vibrate and go for a little bit longer. So we're gonna go from the lowest note that we can, so very sacral, root, primal. And from the top, in the highest note, all the way down. We're gonna do that one more time. We're gonna try our best to do it in one breath. So take a deep, long breath and control your exhale very slowly to go all the way up and all the way down. Ready? Take a deep inhale. Okay, good job. Amazing. Now we're gonna work with the vocal frets. So have you ever been able to make this sound? I don't know if we can hear it with the Zoom sound, but are you able to hear the sound? Yeah? So we're gonna do this sound, and we're gonna turn our head, our neck in big circles as we're doing this. It's not super easy to move our head in circles and create this sound. So it does take some control in your diaphragm and a lot of attention to bringing your voice out. So we're gonna try one more time. Coming back to center, doing a few more circles, engaging the shoulders, the chest, and really just flossing your spine from the hips up, allowing for any energy that could be stagnant in your spine, maybe from sitting or standing all day, to move, get activated. Bringing full awareness into your body, full presence right here, right now. Remembering that the arrival practice is a whole practice by itself. And so just practicing to arrive every day, just a few minutes, arriving into the body, into the senses, into your skin, to your spine. Moving from side to side. And coming back to center. Okay, we're feeling a little bit more arrived in the body. So the vagus nerve, for a little bit of a background, we're going to be speaking way more about that later today with Bianca and Shelby, is the longest nerve in the body. And that's why it's called the vagus nerve, because, well, in Spanish, vagus means que vaga. So it kind of like wanders around through your body. And so it reaches every single part of your body in, in like miracle time. And so to be able to access and regulate your nervous system in an efficient way, we want to be able to access the vagus nerve. And so all of the vocal toning, everything that brings vibration through your throat is an example of ways that we can access the vagus nerve and bring almost instant comfort. And usually the time that it takes is between 3 to 7 minutes of continuous practice. Either that's humming or sounding in any way, like the exercise that we just did, for example, activates and tones our vagus nerve. So having that said, I'm gonna guide you through just a few minutes into your body. Just gonna take a moment to close our eyes. And we're gonna step into the world of elements, of water, fire, earth, air. And as we journey within and we activate our inner eye, where we can see and we can imagine everything, our internal state, our internal body, and we can see it through the elements, through metaphors of the outer world, and we can see the landscape. We're going to take a moment to notice what your inner landscape looks like, feels like today. Whether that is winter, cold, is it frozen? Is it warm? Is there breeze? Is it summer? Is it spring? And just noticing, what is your inner landscape like today? And from this space, I'm going to invite you to bring your hands to your body and locate the spaces that feel maybe hardened or frozen, or that need warmth, that need a little bit of attention, that need nourishment. And just allow your hands to travel through your body with complete freedom and intuition. Allow your breath to the energy that's needed to this space, whether that's cooling breath or a warming breath, invigorating or calming, soothing. If there's any movement or sound that wants to come through, and now we're gonna invite your body to move that energy using your hands, your breath, maybe sound, maybe a gentle movement, maybe strong movement, maybe that's dynamic movement, jumping, shaking, or just moving in very slow ways. And for the next 2 minutes, just allow your body to unravel in all ways, shapes, and forms, welcoming the totality of yourself into the space. Slowly wrapping up, coming into the space. Bring all of your presence, gathering all of your presence into the space, into your body. And with that inner spaciousness and that state of stillness and awareness and receptivity, receiving now Bianca for some exploration on the vagus nerve and to lead us through some practice.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Andrea.
Andrea.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
I'm
mute
gonna
myself.
mute
It's
myself.
just
It's
raising
just
my
raising my
opening it up.
bring it up.
How about now? Everyone hear me okay? Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful. Really powerful for me. These tools of embodiment practice, like it's something that's so underestimated, in how powerful they can be in liberating us and helping us get into a state of blooming. And so, yeah, I wanted to bring a little bit of structure in terms of what is happening in the vagus nerve when we are in these various different states in hopes that it will give you a framework and some tools that you can then implement. I know for me personally, it's been really game changing to not only have the actual practices, but to understand on a more theoretical, scientific level what's happening in the body. And so I'm going to present some of that today. And for whoever's watching the replay, as well as for you that's here, Abigail, our lovely guest. I read how you're currently in that mom cocoon of breastfeeding a baby, and I hear you, I feel you. I literally am still in that cocoon right now. It's been a year of me in that cocoon so far, almost actually 15 months. And I'm still connected very much, and it is very challenging. And so I feel really relational to you in the sense of I get what it is to be in that postpartum hormone haze and to not really know how to, or to have a desire to stay in balance and equilibrium, especially when you're trying to give life and sustain life, and how difficult that can be when we don't have a map or a way out, right? And it could be really clouded. And so hopefully today, with some of these insights that we're going to go through, it'll help you see that, hey, the road might be a little rocky right now, and it might have its ups and downs, but there's certainly a path through it, and we're here to support in that. So I'll go ahead and I want to actually share my screen so that I can show you a little bit of a graphic as, oh, actually, I have to, there we go. Um, as Andrea was saying, the vagus nerve is this incredible highway of a nerve that runs all the way from the top of our spine, behind our neck, all the way down to the base of the spine. And what I'm presenting today is something called polyvagal theory. It was a theory that was developed by a neuroscientist by the name of, I want to get the name right, Stephen Porges. And this theory is actually really interesting because it sort of presents our nervous system in a different way that isn't just fight or flight, rest and digest. Um, and he created a framework around what that actually looks like or what it can look like, and some tools that we can implement very simplistically in order to get ourselves back into aligned, what would be like alignment, right? I feel like that's definitely the big buzzword race recently is let's get into alignment, let's get into manifestation mode, let's get into our best selves. And meanwhile, we're these humans that have this machinery that has it's got a perfect divine way of handling and managing these different states of stress that we get into. And I know for myself, for many years, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna like positively think my way out of this issue. Or if I just like, find where the notch is and the kink in my problem and just like, rewire my belief, then that's going to get better. And then I realized that I was living a lot cerebrally and not in my body. And the last several years has been a journey back into my body, which is truly the most liberating journey. So, this is the framework essentially. And what it states is that the nervous system is made up of two main levers, right? Which is the sympathetic and parasympathetic. You might have heard this before, with the sympathetic being the fight or flight state, and then the parasympathetic being the rest and digest. But the nuance to the polyvagal theory is that the parasympathetic, the state of rest and digest, actually has two more levers within it. So we have a ventral vagal state, which is when we're social and active. And then we have our dorsal vagal, which is the shutdown and freeze response. And so that brings a little bit of nuance, right? Because instead of being like, oh, yeah, if I'm not fighting or flighting, I'm just resting and digesting. Well, no, actually, there's a state that we can be in within that ventral vagal that is the state where we're open and receptive to learning, to growing, to relationships, to being our best self, to nurturing. And when we're not in that ventral vagal state, then we could be oscillating between this fight state or flight state and then the shutdown and freeze state. And so that's why this graphic is interesting, right? Because what it shows here is I used red, green, and yellow to describe the three states, right? With green being that ventral vagal, safe and connected to your body state, yellow being dorsal vagal when you're in shutdown or freeze state, and then sympathetic fight or flight, which is like fire, red, we're going, right? And so yellow being slowing down, sympathetic fight or flight being red, things are on fire. And what's interesting is that what happens within theory or conceptually, what takes place is that let's just say something is happening in day-to-day life, we're doing good, we're in our ventral vagal state, we're relating with life, we're connecting, we're doing our thing, and then all of a sudden something happens. Well, the theory says that first we go into fight or flight, which is fighting can look like trying to repair or fix the problem. And flight looks like trying to remove ourselves or create distance from the problem. And then when those two states don't work, when those two practices don't work and we don't get resolution, then we go into dorsal vagal shutdown and freeze. So in essence, the sympathetic, the fight or flight state is actually designed to get us to mobilize, to move, to take action around that thing that is triggering us. And then the dorsal vagal state is almost like what happens to us when we just begin to shut down and completely give up on it. And we can have different activations going on in different domains of life. That's where you'll see, like, oh, my relationships are going really well. My relationship with my husband or spouse or partner or whoever, or with my kids, that's flourishing. But when I go into my career, all of a sudden I start oscillating in between sympathetic and dorsal, right? Shutting down, freezing, unable to take action, or fight or flight. And it really allows you, when you get to tune into this and understand it, it gives you a nice lens to really begin to observe yourself, your behaviors, your life. So you begin to notice in this domain of life, in this category, I'm feeling stuck. And then it becomes a realization around, oh, okay, so what are the experiences, the triggers that are getting me here? What is the belief system underneath this fear that I'm experiencing, or this doubt, or this insecurity that is triggering this state? And you can kind of mentally work it, right? But really, my objective for today is to give you some tools so that you can work on it somatically, so that instead of logically trying to figure it out, you can access the body and just allow yourself to get back into a state of more regulation whenever you're triggered, so that then that answer, that clarity will come to you naturally. You don't have to workshop the crap out of something and then still not actually have access to your body. So if you're tuning into this, please feel free to drop a comment letting me know that it's good. If you have any questions, also please feel free to drop a comment. Otherwise, we'll just kind of keep chugging along here. So I'm going to go ahead and exit the screen, and I'm going to share one more image with you, just again to kind of let it land. And so it's this image here. I know why my screen's doing some funky thing. Hope you can see that okay. Okay, so again, this just shows that big nerve bundle that runs up and down the spine. It's not an anatomically correct kind of image, but it gives you an idea. And it's very primal. This nerve is something that's developing. Even you right now with your baby, it's developing from the minute that you're born, and it's growing and evolving all throughout life. And life's experiences will continue to inform you around these things. So um, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that in your early childhood years, there was a specific domain of life where you were influenced, right? I know for me specifically around career, I had a lot of triggers around work and career and what it means to make money safely and all these things because my imprint from my social experience within my family was that work was hard and life was a struggle and money was scarce and all of these things informed my nervous system that to be within um, either a shutdown or a fight or flight state. And this graphic is actually a little off. I want to mention that because I inverted the colors with the graphic that I created. But essentially, this is the idea, right? We're minimizing our energetic power as we go down this ladder. Um, and so yeah, so as I was saying, is that when we are in the vagus nerve is forming, and some of the most powerful indicators that instructs our vagus nerve, especially early on in the early years, is facial expression, right? So how the our subtle bodies, our bodies detected the subtle body awareness around how our parental figures or guides were behaving. So if they were often angry, if they were frustrated, if they were scared, if they had anxiety, whatever circumstances were around that thing and the expressions that were on their face, that leaves an imprint and begins to inform how our vagus nerve, that is beginning with the facial expression and forming in the top of our faces, begins to read that information, right? And now we begin to input it within our body and cement it in that way. Um, the beautiful thing about also any kind of like this vagus nerve, but also neuroplasticity, is that we have the ability to change our association. Even though we have these imprints at a young age, we have the potential and the power to shift the way that we relate to our circumstances and to these domains of life by way of how we interact with our vagus nerve. So this is the work that we're doing here in educating you on what this vagus nerve does, how these tools can help you implementing these tools, and what it will do over time is through the power of neuroplasticity, begin to rewire your neural circuitry so that you absolutely begin to show up differently and in more power in your day-to-day life. Okay, so that was a lot of information. And thank you for sharing that vulnerably. Yes, shutdown has been me for such a long time too, the shutdown state. And what I can say from my personal experience is that, wow, like when you get into shutdown, it's truly so freezing in the body and, disempowering, and you just want to sleep and you can't really wrap your head around taking that action that needs to be taken. Um, and it can be really easy, at least for me. It was really like I would be so hard on myself when that would happen, right? Like I could be in shutdown mode and not fully understanding where that was originating from. And then I would look at my life and be like, but my life is not that bad. What the hell is my problem? And it was almost like I would try to bully myself out of shutdown mode when that is definitely not helping. And it didn't. And it didn't for a really long time. So allowing to have a tenderness and a softness to where I am currently at and addressing my nervous system first by bringing compassion to the picture and recognizing that my body is actually doing exactly what it was designed to do, and what it sometimes needs is the spaciousness in order to shift the frequency. That has been a big shift for me, is in bringing these practices so that I can remind my body what it feels like to be safe. So for the next few moments, I'm going to be walking through each one of these through a reflective exercise. And the invitation is going to be for you to actually just close your eyes because I'm going to describe each of these states and hopefully in some level activate them so that you become aware of what they feel like in your body. And then I'm going to give you some tools and a practice as we activate each state in order to shift it. So let's go ahead and start soft and tender, or good actually, in the good state. Go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath into the belly. And we're going to activate the ventral vagal state. So the ventral vagal, again, is the state where you feel safe and connected to your body. Continuing to breathe to that sensation and noticing when I say the words safety, connection, curiosity, presence, play. Notice where you begin to feel the sensation of those words in your body. And maybe you want to touch it, maybe you want to point to that area of your body just so you can anchor that in and notice it and hold it. And when you're in this ventral vagal open related state, you're breathing steadily, your face is relaxed, your voice is warm, you're able to think and feel at the same time. So you're present and you're open to connection. In this state, eye contact feels easy. You are open and present with the people around you, and you're easy to connect with. Creative ideas come naturally to you. Conflict feels manageable. Things don't rock you as much. You feel steady. And you can be present and listen to a challenge without becoming defensive. Taking a deep breath into that, noticing the sensation of your body as we activate the awareness around the ventral vagal state. Understanding that from this sensation, this state of being, you learn more. So learning happens here, healing happens here, and your relationship to yourself and to others just flows. Taking a few more deep breaths here and exhaling, sighing it out. Another deep and slow breath. And on the exhale, you're going to gently open your eyes. And the question that I want you to ask yourself, and feel free to take a moment to reflect on this, and I'll put them in the chat. So if you want to reflect on them even more later, you can. But the question is, when do you feel most like yourself? Like you're in this easeful ventral vagal state? When an additional question to create more clarity is, when do you feel calm, connected with others? Calm and connected. And what environments help you relax naturally? So feel free to take just a couple minutes to answer. And I went ahead and added them to the chat so you can reflect on them. But just contemplate this for the next few moments. When do you feel most like yourself? When do you feel calm and connected with others? And what environment helps you relax naturally? And if you feel called, feel free to put that in the chat. And Aria, feel free to do that too if you're there. Okay. So as you're contemplating this, and like I said, you can kind of take this with you, but I want to leave you with an exercise for activating that ventral vagal nerve, and it's really, really simple. So this is called orienting, and basically the practice is for you to take a moment to take in your environment. And you're going to do this by scanning the room around you. And you're going to notice your environment. So you're going to look for 3 colors that you see in your environment, 2 shapes, and 1 sound. And so it's by activating the senses that you inform the body that it is safe, because our brains are constantly scanning for danger, right? So when we scan the room and we say to ourselves, okay, I am safe enough to sit here and notice these subtle things in my environment, I'm safe. This is a cue telling my body that it can relax. So that's something to activate the ventral vagal. Okay. Let me know if you're still with me here. I'm going to move on to the sympathetic. Beautiful. Okay. So sympathetic, the invitation is again to close your eyes. And this time we're going to activate a little bit of the fight or flight. Remembering as we venture into this, this is just an exploration. Here, you get to be the gentle observer. We're not attaching ourselves to any meaning of anything that might come up as we think of these things. You are just here to observe your body so that I can teach you, so that then we can gain the tools and grow. So as we close our eyes, we're going to begin to tune into the sensations of urgency. When you're urgent, in a hurry, anxiety. So when you're feeling anxious, or perhaps anger, frustration, you have something that you need to fight for, or you feel an immediate need to fix something, to fix something bad that's happening in your mind, or something that's out of alignment. It could also be a state of exercising or moving, right? So you're activated, like punching a bag, or mobilizing your body, running, moving, taking action. You have to move quickly. Noticing where this sensation, this state of awareness lives in your body. When you're in the sympathetic fight or flight, your heart starts racing. You might breathe a little bit more shallow, noticing how the breath is behaving right now in your body as you're thinking about this state of stress. Your muscles might tense, even subtly, even just a little bit. or you're, again, feeling like you need to fix something, like something is out of alignment and you're just like wanting to use your hands or your body or your voice or your thoughts or something to like organize that and make it better. Noticing where that fight or flight lives. Maybe you can point to it of where you feel that tension building up and make a mental note of that. Make a mental note of where that's living. What I want you to realize is that this state is not a bad state. It's just your body's way of recognizing that something might be going wrong and that it's time to do something about it. And so just noticing that for yourself. Now let's clear it. Let's go ahead and clear it from the body. So taking a deep breath in and exhaling with a sigh. And this time, the exercise to clear the energy is going to be a deep and slow inhale through the nose for 4 counts. So deep and slow. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for just a moment. And exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it again. 4 more times. So inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling for double the time. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once again, inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once again, deep inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to center. Noticing how simple that was. Noticing when the body is in that activated state for you to get back into more regulation, even if it's just 2% lighter, that's already movement in the right direction. Just a simple deep inhale with a slower exhale. 5 breaths should be enough to get you started. If you want to do more, do as many as you'd like until you feel relaxed. Again, that long exhale is stimulating your vagus nerve and signaling the body that the threat is over. So now the reflective exercise here is for you to ask yourself, I'm just going to type it in. When do you feel rushed or overwhelmed? What situations make your mind race? And do you ever feel like you can't slow down? Okay. Sending those in the chat. And I'm realizing that it's almost time to end the call, technically. And we've still got one more exercise left. So it's a brief one, but I want to honor everyone's time here. So I saw that Lexi just joined the call. Yes, this call is being recorded. Yes, you will get a replay of it. Everybody who signed up and gave us their email, they will get a replay of the call. So if you have to hop off the call, then we understand completely, and we will be sending you a replay. Otherwise, I want to say that it'll take about 30 more minutes maximum on the call in order to just get like this whole process out. Well, this last little bit of the exercise is actually really brief, but then we'll take it over to Aria, who will close this out for the evening. So got you, Lexi. Thank you. Okay, so that was the reflection. That's the tool that you get to take with you. So the invitation is for you to just like notice again where in life you're feeling stuck in sympathetic mode, or what triggers that for you. And then the simple exercise of breathing to get you out of it. Okay, the last state, it's the dorsal, and this is the shutdown state. So for those of you that were feeling struggling with a shutdown, stick around. So again, let's go ahead and close our eyes for this one, tuning into the body, taking a deep breath in, and exhale. Reminder to just be the gentle observer of the experience. Nothing to be attached to here. The body's intelligent and it's informing us. And this time we're going to tune into the sensations of collapse. Feeling collapsed, feeling numb, disconnected from your body, desiring to withdraw, not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to take the action, or maybe just sitting very still. Maybe it's turning on the TV and just staying in front of it for way too long because it just doesn't feel good to get out and turn it off. You're afraid to do the next thing. It feels easier to stay frozen. But it's also painful. There's also a knowing that your body does want to move, that a shift does want to happen. Noticing as I bring up these words, where you begin to feel that sensation in your body. Heaviness, low energy, cloudiness or brain fog, or disassociation, emotional numbness. Noticing where that lives, and maybe you can point to it. And just gently breathe into that part of you. This part of you is actually just in part given up, in part felt that it is safer to just be small and shrunken and disconnected. It is using procrastination and avoidance as a tool, as a survival mechanism. It's keeping you scrolling and just observing everything, but not taking the action. And it's keeping you in a state of purposelessness. So the invitation is for you to just observe those tender parts of yourself, not understand really why or where they're originating from, but just observe it with loving care. Your body's actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do when it needs to survive and just get by. And if it's happening, it's because you've been exposed to a prolonged state of stress. Something has come up through life that has continued to help make you feel disempowered. And perhaps there's, a specific area that comes up when you think about this or when you feel into the sensation, a specific fear. Maybe it's not so clear. That's okay. But your nervous system can choose differently. Right now, you're conserving energy, but in fact, the polar opposite to this feeling is that you have access to more energy and more power than you know what to do with. The fact is that in the law of polarity, all the energy that is being used right now to be conserved is energy that wants to expand outward and be held and seen. But in order for that energy to come out safely and for you to begin to express yourself, you need to feel safe. And so let's begin to shift this energy. Go ahead and take a deep breath in. And we're going to do this by changing the physical state. So noticing as I'm bringing in this activation, now we're going to begin to open. Sit up straighter and begin to create movement in your body. So you're going to press your feet onto the ground or press your hands down into the chair or press your hands together. Like create some tension, create some energy in your body. Roll your shoulders back and open them. And maybe do a few of these where you're just inhaling, exhaling, opening the shoulders. Take a deep breath and let out a louder sigh. And maybe some shaking. And again, deep breath in. Exhale, shake the body. When your body gets into dorsal shutdown mode, the thing that will move it is just creating movement and stimulation. When you notice yourself in slowing down mode and you're procrastinating on that thing, instead of trying to beat yourself up to fixing it and getting into that thing, begin to move your body in a way that feels activating and positive. It could be breathing, it could be exercise, it could be putting on a song. Just do the movement first. Let the body lead you into a regulated state and then take some action. And then take a micro action. Just take a baby step in that direction. See what happens. Usually when you take one micro step, it impulses you to take many more. So start there. Okay, that was dorsal. So now the last little bit, I'm going to just put the questions in the chat for the reflection. And I will add them here so that you can reflect on this and journal on it. So dorsal vagal questions. The question is reflecting on when do you feel shut down or disconnected? When do you feel like withdrawing from the world? When do you feel low energy or numb? And when you're asking yourself when for these things, again, just gentle observer, just noticing where it's happening, when it's happening, so that you can begin to create a little bit of awareness around, oh, this is the trigger. This is the thing. Okay, get curious about it. And then move your body. This program that we're teaching, these tools that we're empowering you with are, our retreat, Soul Bloom. Our inspiration for creating this is because all the facilitators in this space, we have walked this path of having to get unstuck. And we have found power in these practices, and we have found power in really acknowledging and embracing our divinity and our power as creative women, creators of our reality. and we choose to bloom. We choose to believe that we're here to bloom beyond whatever has happened in life, whatever traumas, whatever experiences have happened. We understand that we are innately part of divine nature, of abundance. And just like flowers bloom naturally because it is what they're here to do, this is what we are here to do as humans: bloom into our power so we can be of service to ourselves and of service to the collective. So, this is your invitation to get unstuck by using some of these practices and to learn how to lean into your blooming power. I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to Aria so she can close us out with a little blooming meditation exercise. And then we'll do some sharing because we want to hear from you if possible. It's okay if you don't want to directly talk, but feel free to tell us in the chat, actually. Just drop it in there. What insights have you gained from this experience? And what's like something that you're going to get to take with you moving forward from this practice? We'd love to hear from you. And I'll pass it on to Taria.
Yeah, wow, that was so beautiful. Both Bianca and Andrea, that was some good medicine, especially with all I've been moving through this past week with this eclipse portal. So needed, so needed. And I hope that everyone who watches this, and Abigail who's here, and Lexi who popped in, I hope everyone just really soaks in just the medicine they needed for today and for this time, because we are all moving through some very potent times. um, it's been wild, and I truly believe that these practices are what's going to save us, right? These regulation practices are getting us out of that outward distribution of our prana and turning that prana back inward, where we can actually come in harmony and balance within ourselves. And yeah, I'm feeling like just the flow of this practice, there's already been a lot of internal energetics and meditation and these reflections and practices that we can like go ahead and open it up if anybody wants to share anything. So if we could put in the chat, or if Abigail, you want to unmute yourself and share, you're welcome to share any insights, anything that came through. I know personally for me, I love the in-depth portion. I loved it all, right? Every minute from start to finish, but the in-depth portion of learning about the two different parts of the parasympathetic nervous system. Because I remember that learning that a while ago, but it landed differently. It's been like 5, 10 years or something, but tonight it just like really landed, and I understood it at a whole new level of consciousness. And I've was able to really like reflect on these ways that maybe I wasn't really in a sympathetic response, but it was more the parasympathetic kind of freeze zone, and how to move out of it. So I'm really grateful for those practices, Bianca. Wow, wow, wow. Feels so good. So we could just all take a deep breath together. Yeah? Deep inhale here, maybe closing the eyes. Exhaling, allowing the shoulders, the hips to soften as we settle into this space. My music came on. That was weird. I don't know if y'all heard that. But we're going to do that again. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhaling, allowing yourself to settle, just all that information, all that wisdom to land in your body. Again, deep inhale. And exhale, releasing. Maybe just taking a moment to reflect on how you're feeling now in comparison to when we first started this practice. All of your awareness inward, noticing the shifts, the changes in your body, in your mind, in your heart. And just really anchoring in the feeling of being regulated, of feeling balanced, of feeling settled, of feeling present. I truly believe that it's through this presence that we can feel into what is right alignment, what right action is being asked of us next. Sometimes, especially during these times, we can feel confused, scattered, uncertain, lots of this or that, and which way do we go? And the more we come into this presence and anchor it in, the more that clarity of where we're meant to go comes through. So just taking a moment to soften and to feel into what this feels like so that you can come back to it again and again and again every time you need it, as often as possible. And offer yourself some gratitude, thanking yourself for showing up today. Sometimes showing up is the hardest part, and you did it. We did it. And when you're ready, you can gently blink your eyes open. Maybe take a look around at all the objects in the room, just reorienting yourself. Maybe even look behind you, just knowing that you are safe where you are. You're safe in your body. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So these practices, it's so beautiful to see your face. So these practices are the practices we bring to our retreats, and our next retreat is this summer, June. It's kind of spring still, early June, in Guatemala, where we will be sharing practices just like this. It's called Soul Bloom, and it's a retreat where we're inviting women to come back into harmony with themselves. So this is on a nervous system level, this is on an energetic level, this is on a mental level. It's all the same. It all ties together. And also in harmony with their cycles and the rhythms of their cycle, and how to like build and curate a life that is supportive through whatever season they're in their cycle, so that they can harmonize more with the natural world and the environments, and not feel so burnt out and dysregulated all the time. And so we've all been experiencing these practices and honing in on these practices for years, and we've all been there. We've all experienced it, and now we're just like sharing these gifts to the world that we've learned, and this wisdom that we've learned, and continuing to grow and bloom with you as we do so. So it's a beautiful journey. And so anyone who watches this replay or is on the call, if you decide you want to come with us and you feel super called, we're offering you just a discounted deposit rate of $300 to secure your spot, and we'll send that link to you in the replay email. So I'll make sure I send that to you, Bianca. And it is time sensitive, so the link will expire within a week. And then, so just booking that spot within the link will allow you to get that discounted deposit rate. And then we could set you up with payment plans or whatever you need to support you to make sure that you get to Guatemala with us in June. And the cool thing about this $300 deposit is if you're able to bring a friend or somebody you know, you can get this deposit back, 100% back. So you'll get $300 off the entire retreat price. So if you have any questions, let us know. We'll also send you the link for the retreat webpage. And that's about it. Did I miss anything? Nope. Does anybody feel called to share anything else? We're good.
I can share. I just have my babies. He's just turned 1 and he's sick again with a fever. So I'm just in bed, but that was just what I needed, and I'm so glad I joined because I almost didn't. And yeah, I just forget that it's quite simple to tune back into my body. And I find myself like in the different states and just forgetting that I can just do these simple um, breath work or just slowing down and um, so I'm grateful for those little uh, exercises you've all done here. It's a good reminder, and I too, like you said, Aria, about the dorsal. Like I had heard this in massage school like 10 years ago, and I it landed very differently today. So I'm grateful for that information again. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Bianca, you did a great job at breaking that down, girl.
Yeah.
It was really fun to break down because I've been reading about it and trying to apply it to my own life. So teach it is another level. So thank you for receiving it, and I'm so glad it landed. And I hope it serves you,
Yeah.
Mama. That's such a tender time, and my baby just had her first fever, and it was like I didn't sleep that night, and it just our nervous systems are pulling in overtime right now. And I just so acknowledge you on this journey of yeah, challenge and growth and beauty and love. And it gets easier. So just keep hanging in there and keep leaning onto your community.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He's my third, so it feels I don't know, hard, easier and harder.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so
Well,
much.
We'll be doing this call next Thursday as well. I'll
Okay.
be bringing like a different tool, so please feel free to join again.
Do
Um,
I have to sign up again if I want like the email link or
yeah, so I'm curious because what I plan on doing, this is the first time I run it on Eventbrite with multiple, um, like people. Actually, I'm super curious. Where did you, let me pause this just so that I'm not recording a bunch of like random, let me just stop the recording just so that I can ask you this more like logistical question off record.
yeah, I'll pause the recording.
Okay.